Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Okay guys, it's Monday, January the 13th, and it is 10:34 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, we are going to be going over the news today. I'm going to set that other topic aside for just a bit, and let me go over here because I do want to talk to you about that subject just briefly, because I want to hear from you guys how you want me to proceed. Now, after I had uploaded gosh, it was almost 2 hours, the last video that I did on that subject, it was discovered, and many people had brought it to my attention, but I had discovered it already when I had gone on to do some more research, and they have taken those sites down. Now, actually, that would be incorrect because they haven't actually taken the sites down. Only one site has been taken down, and that site kept complaining that it kept being taken down by these people. So that makes sense that they, because there was attention and eyes on it, they pulled that site down. And the actual official site is now private. You cannot get into it. I did go into the Wayback Machine and was able to save several things, but not all the links are working. And the other thing is there's that website, and actually the Hollydale has now gone private as well. That was the specialized meat portion of the video. So I'm not laughing. It's not funny. It's just, it's odd that I have to be masking it. So there you go. Now, if you want me to, because this is what I've saved. I've been able to save several of these from this year, and also on their Twitter page, I have saved every entry. So if you want me to go through those, I will. If you want me to go through what I have and what I was able to save, then I will. You direct me. If you're interested and you want to see it, then let me know. There seems to be a huge amount of interest in this, and it's actually taken me off guard because, and see, I went into the Wayback Machine here, and you can actually still bring this up. However, all of these are not working. Those links are not working. And so I just copied what I could, and the rest we can't get to. Now, I don't know if there's any other internet archive aside from the Wayback Machine. If you guys know, let me know, because I really would like to retrieve what we lost here. Now you have to sign in, you have to register, and you have to be approved by them to even view this material. And it's as I suggested, because obviously if this was a LARP and they were just doing this for attention or the fun of it or whatever, why would they make it private? What sense, what is a LARP if it's if nobody can see it? That goes against the whole nature of a LARP, right? So yeah. It's interesting to say the least, but I think that it got a little bit too much attention. So because I noticed that there were several forums talking about it, there's people talking about it all over now. So that's what happened. So I wanted to let you guys know, but this video, I'm going to be covering the news and try to get caught up on some of that. Some of it may not be the freshest news out there because I've kind of put it aside a bit so I could work on the other. But let's get to some of this tonight, and I will work on another video for tomorrow on the other topic if you so desire, along with the news. All right, let's just jump in here anywhere. I do have some people to thank, but I'll do that at the end of the show. And also I will pin this comment here. It is my alternative platform in case anything happens to me on YouTube, and I'm going to be setting up others as well so that you can choose from a variety of places. Should YouTube kick me off, you'll be able to still view my stuff. All right, let's take a look at this. No, really, that's interesting theory here. I don't know if it's based in fact or not, but this is by John B. Wells. And it says Ukraine leader confirms missile sales to Iran. 2005, sources reveal that Ukraine was selling weapons received from the United States to Iran. This is currently being investigated by the new Ukrainian president. Investigators were on board the plane. Now, if this is true, and let's just, I see, it's hard for me to believe because this is NBC, and I'm not sure if this article even goes into that about the, it says the missiles were sold without nuclear warheads. They were manufactured in 1987 and poorly maintained, if at all, according to a Ukrainian source familiar with the investigation. And let's see here if it says that. So I don't see where this is discussed, and I really wouldn't expect it to be on NBC. I wouldn't expect if this guy said, yeah, there was investigators on that flight, then I wouldn't agree with that. I mean, I just, most people would look at that and go, oh, that's conspiracy, right? So I just can't imagine that NBC would say that. So maybe this is just a theory on, that John B. Wells has. It's a good one. It's plausible, very plausible, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that. All right, let's go back now and let's look at this. Found this a little hard to believe too. Now, let's come down here. Cops call for arrest of Representative Omar after armed Iranian national captured at Mar-a-Lago. In Palm Beach, Florida, Friday morning, an Iranian national was arrested about 4 miles from President Trump's Mar-a-Lago presidential retreat. The man, identified as Masoud Zola on his passport, was armed with several knives, a machete, and a pickaxe. Zola was arrested at Bradley Park, which is on the east end of the Flagler Memorial Bridge, according to the Palm Beach Police spokesman Michael Ogrodick. I don't know. Names, they're just not my strong suit. Okay, now the man identified as Masoud Zola on his passport was armed with several, okay, I just read that. Police responded to a call at around 9:30 a.m. and found Zola, who also had $22,000 on him and had a car parked at the Palm Beach International Airport. Yeah, nothing suspicious there. Don't we all carry around, huge amounts of cash like that? No, not unless we're purchasing cocaine and hookers and I don't know what else. Maybe if we're shopping on Rodeo Drive, but normally no. What might be most troubling about the entire thing is that just days ago, Squad member Representative Ilhan Omar called for Iran to go after Trump properties. Remember that? Now that a real threat has been identified, cops around the country are calling for her to be arrested for inciting potential violence and threatening national security. A Daily News photographer who was on the scene saw Zola being taken into custody by 3 Palm Beach police officers, along with 2 plainclothes officers whom he was told were from another agency. The man also had camping gear on him, according to the photographer. The Palm Beach Post published photos of the arrest. The arrest on Friday morning came just days after Iran shot approximately 12 ballistic missiles at military bases in Iraq that house U.S. troops. This was in response to the United States airstrike that took out terrorist mastermind Qasem Soleimani, who was the head of the Iranian Quds Force just outside Baghdad International Airport. President Trump ordered the airstrike and taking out Soleimani after U.S. intelligence sources developed information that Soleimani was planning terrorist activities against the United States Embassy in Baghdad, as well as other countries. Last week, insurgents attacked the embassy in Iraq, an attack that was subsequently repelled by a U.S. show of force, unlike what happened in Benghazi. Yes, very unlike what happened in Benghazi, Libya, under the Obama administration. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, appearing on the Ingram angle of Fox News, said Thursday that Soleimani was planning a series of imminent attacks when he was killed. We don't know precisely when, and we don't know precisely where, but it was real. There was a real opportunity here, and there was a real necessity here. We made the right decision. The president made the right call. Pompeo also backed President Trump's claim that the multi-billion-dollar payoff made to Iran by the Obama administration likely helped provide the resources that Iran used to launch the attack on the military bases. All of the things that we are now confronting are a direct result of the resources that the regime had available as a result of that terrible nuclear deal, Pompeo said. On Wednesday, President Trump, in an address to the nation, which occurred the morning after the Iranian attack, said, "The missiles fired last night at us and our allies were paid for with the funds made available by the last administration." In September 2016, the Treasury Department acknowledged that $1.7 billion was transferred from the U.S. to Iran in foreign hard currency. An initial $400 million was sent to Tehran January 17th, the same day Iran released 4 American prisoners. Oh, but it wasn't a ransom, was it? No. The remaining $1.3 billion was paid over a period of 12 weeks. The initial payment was a settlement of a 37-year-old dispute between the two countries over a $400 million payment made by the Shah of Iran, who was exiled during the embassy attack in 1979. So, yeah, it's interesting, you know, and here is Ilhan Omar's tweet from January 6, 2020. Trump needs to immediately divest from his businesses and comply with the emollients clause. Iran could threaten Trump's hotels worldwide, and he could provoke war over the loss of revenue from skittish guests. His business interests should not be driving military decisions. Did she just pick that out of the air, or did somebody direct her to say that? Because who would even think that? Or who would even think that Trump would do that? Well, obviously the Democrats. That's all they do. They don't do any work. They just sit around and think up crazy stuff. Well, alrighty then. For someone who constantly uses terms like dog whistling, this sure the heck seems like a not-so-veiled suggestion to Iraq that maybe Trump's properties might be an attractive target. Omar has made it quite clear that she throws down with America's enemies. She also gained a little bit of controversy, shocker there, on Wednesday when during a press conference she said the ongoing conflict with Iran have left her feeling a little bit ill because of everything that is taking place. Yeah, why would killing a terrorist make her feel a little ill? And also she giggled through the press briefings, which I found very, very inappropriate. PTSD, is this not serious? She suffers from PTSD because a known terrorist was taken out and Iran responded by tossing a few missiles at rather harmless targets in Iraq. This is tremendous. This is a tremendous disservice to the brave men and women in our armed forces who have seen and done things in their life that would have her running and hiding under her bed. What a pure, unadulterated insult to our military. And I agree with that. Absolutely. During the same conference, after her PTSD had calmed down, Omar was seen laughing and giggling, talking to other Democrat colleagues, while Representative Sheila Jackson-Lee was talking about U.S. troops killed in war. Yeah, that's really funny, isn't it? Yeah, right. Makes me laugh. No, it doesn't. Rather than stand silently behind Lee as she spoke and actually showing her some respect, she actually became the center of attention when she began her laughing charade and turning around to speak to other women Democrats on the stage. Her stunt did not go unnoticed. Twitter lit up with people criticizing Omar for carrying on like a 12-year-old school child while Lee was speaking. In the past, when men and women of our military were in harm's way, politicians at least supported them. They may not have supported their mission or may not have supported the president, but they always stood behind our brave men and women in the military. Not this bunch. This so-called squad have shown that they are un-American and do not have the best interests of our country in mind, only their interest in pandering to the small constituency of brain-dead voters that elected them in the first place. Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Absolutely. And this is from Law Enforcement Today. All right, let's go back because there's more. There's always more. And let's go here. Yeah. All right. This Trump tweeted this tonight. Really big breaking news. Kidding. Booker, who was in zero polling territory, just dropped out of the Democrat presidential primary race. Now I can rest easy tonight. I was so concerned that I would someday have to go head to head with him. Oh, that would have been priceless. Priceless. Oh, I wish he could. Just to entertain us. Wouldn't that be fun? Really. I mean, poor Spartacus wouldn't know what hit him. But yeah, he's dropped out of the presidential, race, the primary race. And, actually, I'd forgot that he was even running. I think he had like 1% or something like that. I bet everybody's fighting over that 1% now. I don't know. And let's look at this. Looks like a funeral to me, but mainstream media, massive crowd turns out for yet another enthusiastic Joe Biden rally. And there it is. He can't even fill these chairs, and there can't be that many. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, there's less than 20 chairs there. He can't even fill those. And what is this? It looks like a funeral parlor, I'm saying. It's ridiculous. But according to the mainstream media, it was a massive crowd. Massive. And it was an enthusiastic Joe Biden rally. Have you ever seen Joe Biden enthusiastic about anything? No, I didn't think so. All right. Sleepy Joe. All right, and let's look at this. I've forgotten what it is, but I bet it's good. Oh, yes, yes, yes. And this from Rocking Angel said, that sounds like a death threat. And she's laughing as she says it. Listen to these words very carefully. A, Trump won't be president next year, one way or another. B, Dems may have him removed sooner than the election. C, Trump will be impeached forever. Their intention couldn't be any clearer than they are now. Now, let's listen to her. Sorry that I have to do this to you guys. But, yeah, just one of those things. It's only 17 seconds. Is that all right? I mean, I can't listen to her long either.
Future,
okay.
A future that will, but again, it's Sunday morning. Let's be optimistic about the future, a future that will not have Donald Trump in the White House. One way or another, 10 months from now, we will have an election if we don't have him removed sooner. But again, he will be impeached forever. But again, it's Sunday morning.
She sounds pretty happy about that, doesn't she? And what does she mean? But by Trump won't be president next year, one way or another. What are they planning? I mean, the only way he would be removed before would be if he was impeached by the Senate. And we all know that's not going to happen. And, if he lost the election, which can't happen. I mean, really, it can't happen unless, there is voting fraud like never before. I don't know. Trump will be impeached forever. No, he won't, because doesn't the Senate have to agree on the articles or something like that? I'm not sure. I have to look that up. But I don't think if he's impeached in the Congress, I don't know how that works, because he's not really considered impeached, is he? I don't know. Until they pass? I don't know. But then again, there was Clinton who was impeached. But then when it got to the Senate, they ruled against it. So I don't know. But it's interesting nonetheless, and I think it's a threat because they hate this president so vehemently. I've never seen a group of people hate someone that much. I really think that if he was assassinated, they would stand up and cheer. They would not shed one tear, and they would get up and say, oh, he got what he deserved. You know they would. They don't even think he has the right to breathe the same air as them. It's unbelievable. All right. Let's move on and let's look at this. Now I have some theories on this. And it says White House's first snow of the year tweet confuses Washington, D.C. residents. Why? Because it wasn't snowing that day. And it wasn't about snow. I mean, really, it was not about snow. Here is the tweet right here. First snow of the year. And it's got, little dots on it. Obviously, this has been tampered with or, photoshopped to put the little dots in there because there was no snow that night. So, let's look at, The White House official Twitter handle on Sunday confused residents in Washington, D.C. when it tweeted out a nighttime photograph of the world's most famous residence behind falling snowflakes with the caption, first snow of the year. One problem, it didn't snow in the city that day and was, in fact, unseasonably warm with highs that reached nearly 70 degrees. So unless Disney's Elsa made an unannounced state visit, Twitter users demanded answers. And the tweet sparked a blizzard of replies that largely mocked the administration. Some on Twitter recalled the time that Trump insisted that Alabama was threatened by Hurricane Dorian. The issue became famous when Trump held up a map in the Oval Office showing the cone of uncertainty over areas the storm could hit. The map seemed to include a section of Alabama and the Florida Panhandle circled with a black marker. Newsweek said it reached out to the White House for comment and later learned that the White House shared a Flickr.com page that further explained the photo used in the tweet was taken on January 7th, the last time it snowed in the city. The confusion appeared to be that the White House did not include the date the photo was taken in the tweet. It was 70 degrees today, Bradley Moss, a national security lawyer, wrote, according to Newsweek. There was no snow out there. Yeah, well, don't you find it interesting that today, and when was this tweeted? Sunday, I think they said, right? Yeah, Sunday. It was tweeted Sunday, January the 12th. First snow of the year. And what was in the news today? Snowden. No. Forget that. He wasn't in the news today. It was Assange. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. No. Well, not about that anyway. Okay. So I don't know, but that was my first guess, was that it was possibly code. So I don't know. What do you guys think? It's not normal. And I think that really, I don't know. I don't know why they would put that up. And maybe it's just as they say, that it was the last snowstorm, which was the 7th, and they just put this up. But it seems awfully odd to me. I do believe that it was a signal to somebody or code. I do. And we know that they communicate that way. So that's what I think. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay. But it probably has nothing to do with Assange. But he was in court today. And he's looking better, to tell you the truth. Like he's not looking quite so peaked. Okay. Now let's go back and just in, Queen Elizabeth II agrees to let Harry and Meghan move part-time to Canada. Looks like Meghan got her way. And the person that is helping them is, I'll dig into that at some point because there's an interesting connection there. So I'll stay on top of that. All right. Now, let's look at this. Man charged with impersonating Trump Marine One security guard. Is this even new? Yeah, 11th of January. A dishonorably discharged Marine allegedly impersonated a security guard for President Donald Trump's Marine One helicopter and bypassed checkpoints at Palm Beach International Airport last week, according to a report. The former Marine, Brandon M. Magnan, 37, of Naples, Florida, was charged on January the 6th with false impersonation of officer or employee of the United States, according to a criminal complaint by the United States Secret Service. It wasn't clear why Mr. Magnan was trying to get near the helicopter Marine One, which is piloted and protected by the Marine Corps unit known as HMX-1, is used to transport the president for shorter trips, the Secret Service said. Mr. Trump was spending his winter vacation in Palm Beach, Florida, at his private Mar-a-Lago resort at the time of the episode with Mr. Magnan. Law enforcement said Magnan was asked to present his credentials upon entering Atlanta Aviation without marine attire, often worn by the president's security team during presidential travel, according to court documents. The Palm Beach Post first reported that a deputy asked a colleague to verify Magnan's credentials, which were later found to be falsified. The suspect retorted that he was a retired Marine. However, the FBI's crime database reportedly shows Magnan was dishonorably discharged after he was court-martialed for serious offenses. He was convicted of abusive sexual conduct and is a registered sex offender. Magnan is charged with false presentation of an officer or employee of the U.S. He faces up to 3 years in jail and a $250,000 fine. The former military member has been out on bond as of Monday and is scheduled to appear in Florida court on January 27th. Now, he had to be up to no good, right? Normal people don't do those things. So what was he trying to do? It doesn't say that he had a weapon or anything. So what was his motive or motivation in all of this? It's interesting because I happen to believe that Trump is in serious danger every day that he lives. I would not want to be him. I am glad for him, and I'm certainly grateful for everything he's done. But to be him, no, it's got to be scary because he just doesn't know. He's got to have some crackerjack people working for Secret Service workers there, really. He must have the best of the best because they've been able to keep him safe against all odds. All right, and I hope that continues. I pray that continues. All right, let's go back. No, really, let's. And let's come down here to this. Nancy Pelosi is leaving the door open for new articles of impeachment. She would rather waste more time and taxpayer money on her partisan games than focus on issues Americans really care about. Democrats put their hatred of Donald Trump above all else. Unbelievable. And yes, they do. All right, let's go to this. No, really, let's. All right. Yeah, it's the same thing that we looked at before, but I want to, says, Pelosi said today, Trump won't be president next year, one way or another. Dems may have him removed sooner than the election. Trump will be impeached forever. It's clear impeachment was a Democrat hit job to stain Trump's legacy and hurt him at the polls. Nothing more. And that by Steve Scalise. And I think we can all agree with that. This whole impeachment thing. It's a waste of time. They should be attending to the business that they're hired to attend to. But instead, they're just pursuing this and wasting more and more and more taxpayer money because they're afraid that they're going to get found out. Remember what Hillary Clinton said? If he gets in, we'll all hang from nooses. Well, I think she had a reason to to believe that, right? Okay, now, oh, look at this. Schiff funneled 60 million US tax dollars to his Ukrainian friend and corrupt arms dealer Igor Pasternak. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? 60 million. Let's take a boo at that, shall we? Of course we shall. Well, this was published October 3rd. This is old news. Old news, I tell you. So let's not take a look at that. And let's go back here. I know, it's just one of those days. Okay, now let's look at this, because this is good news. I think it's good news. Trump, James O'Keefe hint something big about to drop on Bernie Sanders. Now, of course, this was from yesterday, and these are the people that exposed CNN, exposed the Planned Parenthood, body part scandal, and all that. So now they say that there's something big about to drop on Bernie Sanders. President Donald Trump and journalist James O'Keefe hinted on Sunday that something big is about to drop on Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders as the 78-year-old socialist has surged in recent polls. Trump tweeted, "Wow, crazy Bernie Sanders is surging in the polls, looking very good against his opponents in the Do-Nothing Party. So what does this all mean? Stay tuned." O'Keefe quickly followed up to Trump's tweet, writing, "Stay tuned, everyone. Something very big is going to happen. The first bombshell tape is going to drop this week." So I'm excited to listen to that. And I wonder what it is. Well, it's probably something that will harm Bernie Sanders in the polls. Not that he's doing that well. And this from James O'Keefe. "Stay tuned, everyone. Something very big is going to happen. First bombshell tape is going to drop this week." And USA Today reported, hang on here, that Sanders is solidly second in most national polls behind Biden. Well, we saw the big crowd that Biden drew at the what looked like a funeral parlor. I know it wasn't, but, and he draws people that are very, you don't see young people attending a Biden, whatever it is. I wouldn't call it it's certainly not a rally. The people that attend look too dead to rally anything. So I don't know. Yeah, solidly second, right. And he either leads or is tied in recent polls in the first two states that vote, Iowa and New Hampshire. Yeah, sure he is. Yeah, we can trust the polls. Like, there was only a 2% chance that Trump could get into the White House, and yet there he is. He's still our president. Yeah, I like that. In a recent interview with Politico, Jim Messina, Barack Obama's 2012 campaign manager, warned Democrats that if Sanders is the Democratic nominee, that Democrats will struggle across the board in national elections. Oh, that's an understatement. If I were campaign manager for Donald Trump and I look at the field, I would very much want to run against Bernie Sanders, Messina said. I think the contrast is the best. He can say, I'm a business guy, the economy's good, and this guy's a socialist. I think that contrast for Trump is likely one that he'd be excited about in a way that he wouldn't be as excited about Biden or potentially Mayor Pete or some of the more Midwestern moderate candidates. So anyway, there you go. Something big's about to drop, and I, for one, can't wait. But will people pay attention to it? Will the mainstream media just spin it like they always do? And if it alleges or captures illegal activity, would anything be done? Because I really am getting quite... I'm not saying, don't think that I'm saying that I don't think that there will be justice or anything like that, but it's been a very long time coming. A very long time coming. So I'm waiting patiently. like you all are. Some of you patiently, some of you not so patiently. Okay, let's go back. No, really, let's. And here we go. Oh, right. This is the guy that I was alluding to earlier when we were talking about Meghan and, Prince Harry. Canadian billionaire Frank Giustra provided luxe hideout for Prince Harry, Meghan Markle. And this was yesterday. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been hiding out at the home of Canadian billionaire Frank Giustra, whose close ties to the Clintons have created international controversy. Page 6 can exclusively reveal Harry and Meghan refused to reveal the owner of the multi-million-dollar waterfront mansion near Victoria, British Columbia, the place where they plotted their shock exit from the royal family. But multiple sources with knowledge of the situation told Page 6 that the owner is Giustra, 62, who made his fortune as a stockbroker, co-founded Hollywood studio Lionsgate, producing flicks including American Psycho and the Michael Moore documentary Fahrenheit 9/11, and is best known in the U.S. as one of the biggest donors to the Clinton Foundation. Giustra, a divorced father of two, is no stranger to controversy. In 2005, he and President Bill Clinton traveled together to Kazakhstan to meet with the former Soviet Republican authoritarian leader. Days later, Giustra acquired shares in 3 of the country's state-run uranium mines, a venture valued at more than $3 billion. Months after the Kazakh PAC, Giustra reportedly gave a $31.3 million donation to the Clinton Foundation and has since publicly pledged he'll donate another $100 million. Great way to launder your money there, Giustra. Both Giustra and Clinton have denied the former U.S. president helped him cement the Kazakh deal, and Giustra later divested himself of the assets. Then in 2016, as Hillary Clinton was running for president, the leaked emails of her campaign chairman, John Podesta, revealed that Giustra and Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim gave an endowment of $20 million in 2010 to the Clinton Foundation to set up the for-profit Haiti Development Fund intended to give seed money to Haiti. How did that work out? Well, intended to give seed money to Haitian entrepreneurs after the devastating earthquake. Yet there is almost nothing in the public record showing what happened to the millions of dollars, according to reports at the time. Giustra was furious at the claims and later told Canada's National Post that the Clinton controversy was insanity, an effing circus. Ranting, I'm like serious, folks. I'm giving away money. There's a campaign, a political campaign. Anyone with half a brain would know what's happening. Giustra, anyone with half a brain would know what's happening. Giustra, who currently runs the private equity firm Fiora Financial, remains on the board of directors of the Clinton Foundation and is renowned philanthropist through his Radcliffe Foundation, which helps causes such as the Boys Network. That's right, the Boys Network, and the homeless, and supports the International Crisis Group by providing humanitarian aid and supplies to refugee camps in Greece and Turkey. He won the 2014 Dalai Lama Humanitarian Award and the Order of British Columbia in 2016, the highest civilian honor for achievement befitting local people. Giustra, who did not respond to numerous calls and emails from Page 6 for comment, is believed to have loaned the royal couple his uber private digs for free. The main house, called Mille Fleurs, was bought in 2014 and registered under a local country club to shield the identity of the owner. Even the neighbors haven't known who the buyer is. The home is 11,416 square feet. I guess if you have that kind of money, you can afford to clean it. Have it cleaned. With 5 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. And the property also boasts a 2,349 square foot guest cottage with 3 beds and 2 baths. Yeah, that's some cottage. Meghan and Harry's publicist, Sarah Latham is a former Hillary Clinton aide, but sources told Page Six that the royal couple's access to the mansion was set up through famed music producer David Foster, not Latham. Giustra is a very close friend of Foster, whose wife, Catherine McPhee, went to school and worked on theater productions with Meghan as the two women grew up in Los Angeles. Foster has already said he set up Meghan and Harry with the house after learning they were in need of a discreet location to spend the holidays. A rep for Foster declined to comment to the Post. On Thursday, Meghan flew back to the waterfront Bolt Hole to join baby Archie, who was under the care of a nanny following a trip to London earlier in the week, where she and Harry made their shocking announcement to quit the British royal family. Harry has stayed behind in the UK to deal with the fallout from Megxit, but is expected to join Meghan in Canada later this week after a pre-scheduled public engagement Thursday. It is not known how long the couple will remain at Giustra's property, but it's believed they will make Toronto or Vancouver their main home after finalizing the terms with Queen Elizabeth and Buckingham Palace officials to step down as senior royals. On Sunday, Giustra denied owning the home on Twitter, writing, "I was disappointed to read this morning's error-filled article about me in New York Post. I do not own a home in or near Victoria, BC. I have never been contacted by a member of the British royal family, by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, or by any of their representatives." Unsurprisingly, the New York Post used this non-story as an opportunity to recycle a series of lies about me that have been repeatedly and definitively disproved by the New York Times, Fox News, and the U.S. Department of Justice, among others. Once again, the Post has confused fake news and for evidence-based investigative journalism. Well, you know what, Giustra? Yeah, you are as dirty as they come, so I don't believe anything you say. But maybe that's just me, because I'm a little cynical. All right. Let's go back. Let's see what other things we can get involved in. Oh, this is interesting. Sure it is. But this is from back in November, and I'm wondering why this has not had the impact that it should have. Pasco County residents' lawsuit leads to claims. Okay. Pasco County residents' lawsuit leads to claims Representative Omar was recruited, funded by Qatari government. Now, I have no problems believing this whatsoever, and I think we covered this when this came out, so I'm not going to cover it again. But I'm just wondering, why has this just dropped out of sight? Well, we know why, because, none of our mainstream media is free. We don't have free media anymore. We definitely don't have it in Canada, and you don't have it in the States. But nonetheless, I still want to come back to the States. All right, let's come back here and look at this. John Kerry says there was not a whiff of scandal during Obama's 8 years. Yeah, and here are some of the scandals. Fast and Furious, Benghazi, IRS, Bergdahl, Solyndra, Clinton emails, cash to Iran, spying on Trump. Do I need to list more? No, I think we got the idea. Yeah, there was not a whiff of scandal. Yeah, okay. No, there was like a whole head-on tornado of scandal. Wasn't just a whiff. Yeah, a little whiff. Like, what's that do? No, it was like a full-on tornado. Okay. And let's look at this. Now, this tweet that he did in Farsi, is that how you pronounce that? Is the most, it was the most popular tweet in that language ever. And it says, "To the brave and suffering Iranian people, I have stood with you since the beginning of my presidency, and my government will continue to stand with you. We are following your protests closely. Your courage is inspiring." Now, let's go to this. This is post 1604 of QAnon. And what does it say? Now, this is from the 27th of June, 2018, well before any of this happened. And what does Q say? We stand with the good people of Iran who are currently battling their installed regime for freedom. True rule, the people have the power, rise up and demand they be removed. At some point, military generals will act with the will of the people simply because their soldiers are those same people and have no choice. We stand with you. We are monitoring the situation closely. Stay safe. God bless. Now, do you think it's a coincidence that this is saying exactly what this is saying? And this is back in June. And now Trump is saying, I have stood with you. And I think this is awesome. And I think it's a genius that he wrote this in their language. I do. I think it is just a stroke of genius. And he's talking directly to the people there to let them know, hey, we're with you. We're not against the people. We don't want to harm you. And we're following your protests closely. So, and look at over here. This says we are following your protest closely. And this says we are monitoring the situation closely. Yeah. So it's kind of to me, that's more proof of Q, because how did they know way back here? And, it's too much of a coincidence that Donald Trump would use all these same, basically it's the same post. Pretty much. All right, let's go on because we can. All right, and this from Mike, whoever Mike is. Our media claims Iran is unified in grief over Soleimani. Chris Matthews said the terrorist death hit Iran like the death of Princess Di hit Britain. Here's the reality. Students under threat of torture and death calling now for the supreme leader to go. Yeah, what we're hearing in the mainstream media, if you happen to listen to mainstream media, and if you do, don't, that's what they're saying. They're saying, oh, the people are just mourning for him. No, they're not. They're not. All right. And Donald Trump Jr., Trump tweet in Farsi, the most liked Persian tweet in history of Twitter. Trump tweet in Farsi, the most liked Persian tweet in history of Twitter. President Trump's tweet in Farsi expressing his support for Iranians protesting leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has already earned whatever. I don't know. We're not going to go out to that because it's over. And this by Johnny Deplorable. You and your okay, this is to Bill Clinton. Here's Bill Clinton's post. My heart is with the people of Haiti. Today and every day, I remember those who lost their lives in the earthquake, including my colleagues from the UN and those who persevere to build a future worthy of their labors, gifts, and sacrifices. That guy has nerve. I will tell you something. And Johnny Deplorable responded and said, you and your wife funneled hundreds of millions of American taxpayer dollars through your, quote, foundation that was intended to build a hospital for impoverished children in Haiti. Sit the F down. I would tend to agree with that, although I wouldn't use that language, but. Okay, we've got 3 more things to go over here. Can you hang with me? Sure you can. You guys are tough. I mean, you sat through that long video I did, which is crazy. Now, I wanted to show you these pictures because they are the most beautiful pictures I've ever seen. It says, not from the Philippines volcano. I wanted to look up what the electricity was all about. Volcano lightning. This place sure is awesome. Look at this. It's a volcano lightning. And I've heard of this, but to see pictures of it, it's absolutely mesmerizing. I would love to see something like that in real person, but of course I wouldn't want to get that close to a volcano that was about to spew. And here is more. I just had to show you guys these because I think they are unbelievable. And here's more. This one's actually spewing and the lightning. Yeah, I've heard that volcanoes do, when they erupt, there's lightning, but I'd never seen a picture of it. Mesmerizing, totally. All right. Now, let's go back here and let's... Oh, yeah. Okay. This is interesting. You know why? You know why I pulled this out? Even though it's from September 21st, I pulled this out because remember in the video, the long video, we were talking about electric servants, or perhaps it was the shorter video, the first video, I'm not sure. But remember they said, you know, the electric servants. Well, I do believe that they are robots that they're using, and that is the robots. They had the teams there that were competing, of course, and there was robots trying to kill them. There was, and each team was competing to see who would be the winner. So I don't know, but this is why I pulled this out to look at, because it says the rise of killer robots is now unstoppable, and a new digital Geneva Convention is essential to protect the world from the growing threat they pose, according to the president of the world's biggest technology company. In an interview with The Telegraph, Brad Smith, president of Microsoft, said the use of lethal autonomous weapons systems poses a host of new ethical questions which need to be considered by the governments as a matter of urgency. He said the rapidly advancing technology in which flying, swimming, or walking drones can be equipped with lethal weapons systems, missiles, bombs, or guns could be programmed to operate entirely or partially autonomously, ultimately will spread to many countries. So, and you know that the technology that the elites have is way more advanced than what we plebes get. It just is. Like, usually when they announce something, I mean, they've had that for a long time by that time. And so the fact that they're talking about this and that the president, Microsoft chief, Brad Smith, is saying, yeah, it's unstoppable. Killer robots. So the US, China, Israel, South Korea, Russia, and the UK are all developing weapon systems with a significant degree of autonomy in the critical functions of selecting and attacking targets. The technology is a growing focus for many militaries because replacing troops with machines can make the decision to go to war easier. But it remains unclear who is responsible for deaths or injuries caused by a machine, the developer, manufacturer, commander of the device, or the commander of the device itself. It says lethal autonomous weapons are military robots with the ability to make lethal decisions free from human oversight. They are designed to select and attack military targets without intervention or control of a human operator and are capable of operation in the air, on land, on water, underwater, or in space, or even perhaps in tunnels. The development of autonomous weapons system has been heavily criticized in an open letter to the UN signed by over 100 artificial intelligence and robotics experts. The letter warns that not sanctioning a ban on autonomous weapons would herald a third revolution in warfare after gunpowder and nuclear weapons. Smith said killer robots must not be allowed to decide on their own to engage in combat or who to kill, and argued that new international convention needed to be drawn up to govern the use of this technology. The safest of civilians is at risk today. We need more urgent action, and we need it in the form of a digital Geneva Convention, rules that will protect civilians and soldiers. Speaking at the launch of its new book, Tools and Weapons, at the Microsoft store in London's Oxford Circus, Smith said that there was also a need for stricter international laws over the use of facial recognition technology and other emerging forms of artificial intelligence. There needs to be a new law in this space. We need regulation in the world of facial recognition in order to protect against potential abuse. He expressed optimism about the UK's exit from the European Union and said the economy had so far remained resilient. But he said Britain's Brexit saga was like the fourth season of a TV boxed set drama series, which is going on too long and needs to end soon. Regardless of how one feels about Brexit, it It's not necessarily an issue that benefits from year after year of debate. It's a little bit like now entering the 4th season of a TV series that hit its most suspenseful point long ago. At some point, you just want the season to conclude. It will be good to have an ending and hopefully a happier one. So I do think that this is very, very interesting. And there's an international campaign to stop killer robots has doubled in size over the past year to include 113 NGOs in 57 countries. So this is something that not only exists, but is in use. Now, well, they already said that the US military makes use of this. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's interesting because you've got to know that if they're already available, they're in use somewhere, right? So it just lends more credence to the fact of the underground tunnels and the stuff that takes place there. Real live Hunger Games. All right. Now, let me just check on this other one because I think it was along the same line. And I think I pulled that out for that purpose because I thought, no, this is something else, which we're not going to go into tonight. So there we go. And let me thank the following people who these people make it all possible. These are coffee donors: Nellie Stirs, John Bobo. I love that name, Bobo. Nellie Stirs, John Bobo, Janice Mosher, Dana Troy, Kitty Cat. I like that name. Anon, a good lass, and indeed she must be a good lass. She donated coffee. And Anon too. And thank you for your very generous donation, Anon too. I appreciate that. And it's well needed. So anyway, and new Patreon. Yay, Patreon. Paula Harris, Monica Malone, or is it Malone? I don't know. I think it's Malone. Monica Malone, Deborah Clarkson, Kim Curtis increased her pledge, and Joan. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it very, very, very much. And remember, I'm going to put this link in the description down below. Well, actually, it'll be the first pinned comment. So I think now I may do a short video on some of the other stuff tonight, but I'm not promising. I'll see how it goes once I get this uploaded. And but there's lots to cover there, lots to cover. So there we go. I'm going to call it quits for tonight. Well, unless I do that other video. I don't know, because I'm not talking so well tonight for some reason. Who knows? Some days we shine and other days we, I don't know. What's the opposite of shine? I can't imagine. Anyway, and some days we're dull. Some days we shine, some days we're dull. And today's just one of those dull days. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Keep seeking truth because you know it and I know it. Deception bites.